everyone, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Rochelle Laird Smith and I'm from Stampin' Flat. I'm based in Melbourne. Today I'll be sharing with you the bouquet technique. I thought this was a nice technique to do with the bubbles part of our theme for gigs, and this is actually a photography technique, and it is to do with the out of focus or blurry parts of the image rendered by a camera lens, which you can have. It's those little dots and it has that fuzzy look at the back and gives that nice depth of field. So first of all, I'm going to be starting to create a background with to apply some color, and I'll be using the colors Pretty in Pink, Melon Mambo, Gorgeous Grape and Night of Navy. I'm applying it with a blending brush and I'm using Stampin' Up products. If you would like any help with getting these products, please get in touch with me. I also have a list, shopping list there to assist you with what you need. You will also need a craft ink pad or a white ink pad, which I'm using for the bokeh part of this technique, and you will see how I use it later on. So I am going to now apply. I've applied the Pretty in Pink. I'm applying some Melon Mambo. This video is it's sped up, so it does take a little bit of time, and I do like to during the process make sure I use my heat tool and dry the layers as well. So make sure you do that. Take your time with this process, but it is fun and it really gives a beautiful look. So I have applied that Pretty in Pink. I put some Melon Mambo and I'm just going back and forth with colors. Right now I'm just filling in the gaps there. It's not a really smooth blend. I'm definitely not doing my best work here. It's just to get that color down to show so then when we apply that white ink over, that color will just have that lovely shading at the back. So now I'm putting that Gorgeous Grape down as well with my blending brush just on a side. I've gone from light to dark. I have a card in mind that I'm going to make, so I did it in that fashion, but you can do it however you like depending on what you're going to create. You don't have to even use the actual full piece. You can cut it down and use little sections as well, so it's really good. Now I'm adding some Night of Navy just to deepen that color on the corner, and just adding some depth there. So going back in with some Gorgeous Grape, and I wanted to add a bit more of that purple in there. So this is just a great way to get some inky fingers. You can see I've been playing around with the technique. You can see white on my fingers and lots of color. So I have some tissue and have some wet wipes on hand as you do this. I'm just using basic white cardstock. We do have a thick variety for a card base, but I'm just using the basic white cardstock here. So now I'm going to dry this, make sure it's completely dry because I've applied quite a bit of ink here before I start putting my white craft ink. So this is a pigment ink, the white craft ink, so it's quite, how to say, a wet ink. So you will see when I apply that it'll pick up the other color under. You don't want it to saturate too much. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of acetate and cut some circles out of it. You can use punches, you can use whatever circle die cuts or anything you have. Make sure, the idea is to have some different sizes. Now I've used the inside of my photopolymer stamps come with some clear acetate, so I've just used that. So it's a bit more solid. It's not the really flimsy one, so you could even use some gift box packaging. I'm applying the white pigment ink through the die cut circles. I'm going with the larger circles first. So they are going to be the back, and then it's sort of the spotlight of that bokeh technique. The little ones are going to be towards the front, like the camera lens, and it's like when you see the sun shining, and like that's the effect I want to get. So I'll have the really smaller circles at further in the front, in the foreground. So I will apply the larger ones, overlapping them, and as I fill in and I find I've got a lot on, then I will apply my heat gun to it, make sure it's dry, and then I'll apply some more. Just keep filling in the gaps, overlapping your circles, changing the sizes. So I've done quite a few here, and my advice is to have if you have two large ones, put them on either end of your acetate so you can move it around. Now, when you find it's a bit tricky to continue to blend your ink, dry the ink, and then you can reapply and put your homemade stencil over it. And then I'll go over again, overlapping those circles, and then it creates that look. As it dries too, it's gonna diffuse and create that and soften that look. Right at the front, I will have the little circles, like I had like a 1/2 inch one as well somewhere there, which I added. So really small ones give you that really pinpoint kind of look. And I'm adding the little ones with a sponge door bar, so it's easier to get to because they're so tiny, and that gives a bit of a stronger color. You could apply with the sponge dauber instead of the blending brush. I do have a dedicated blending brush for white, although you can see a little bit of the pink tinge on it because it's picking up a little bit of that ink. But these blending brushes are beautiful to work with. You can just wash them off and just go through them again, but it's best to have a separate one for white. Makes it easier. And here I'm going through. So I'm just going to show you just partial what I've done and how you can create this look. And I'm adding those little circles, and they kind of really bring it all together when you add those little bits. And now I bring my previously done piece, which has nicely dried, but I'm just going to make sure it's completely dry. We don't want any kind of wetness as we go into attaching glue and things like that. So now I will have a PDF tutorial for this, so just with the measurements for you of what are my cutting measurements and things, so and what I've used, so an easy download. So click on the link. I will have that for easy download where you can get my shopping list as well. So make sure you get onto that as well. So here we have this. I'm going to be decorating or embellishing this with the one of our new products. It's a Happy Hibiscus bundle. This is a stamp set and a die and a hybrid embossing folder. So the hybrid embossing folder, what it does, if you haven't worked with one before, you can die cut and it embosses at the same time. So you put your die inside the embossing folder and it'll give you that nice impression of the depth of the embossing while it die cuts. So these 3 flowers are going to get embossed and die cut at the same time. And so here I am getting my die ready, and you can see it's just it's really easy to get get it all aligned, and it pops right in place. I kind of started to color it at the you will see a bit colored, and then I realized no, I want to cut it out first, because then it'll give me the actual nice markings, and you know where to color and things like that, so it makes your life a little bit easier, and you can see where to shape. So add some washi or some masking tape to assist keeping this in place, and it'll pop right into the embossing folder because exactly where it's meant to go. I do have a bit of a larger piece than I need, so I'll be cutting this down. If you're interested in knowing more about our products or any techniques and things, please follow me on YouTube. I do have lots of videos there, and also sign up for my newsletter. I do share a new tutorial every week, and I share lots of ideas with you, so I would love to help you in whatever way you need. So let me know. So here I'm just trimming this down. It just was in a funny angle, so I trimmed it down so it fits in this hybrid embossing folder. So you can emboss just regular like you want to, but if you want to, you can die cut in here, and it just pops in that little where the flowers are. It's actually a beautiful embossing folder just to use as a background or any way you want, but I like these hybrid embossing folders. They like double duty, so really good. So we run it through our stamping, die cut and emboss machine, and you can use it in whatever machine you've got. Plate 4 on top, just so like you're doing like you're using an embossing 3D embossing folder. And these flowers will come out as 3 separate flowers, so you can layer, and or you can just use one flower if that's what you want. And I hope you can see the depth when I show you. Sometimes it's a bit tricky to see it, but you can see the rest of that embossing folder, how pretty it looks. Got lots of detail. And you can see all the little markings and things, and that really, if you die cut that out of colored cardstock, you don't have to do any coloring. I just wanted to show some coloring today. That's something I love to do, and so I kind of find it really relaxing. So I'm doing some coloring, but you can make it really quick by just die cutting it out of colored cardstock. So to start with, here I am using the stamping blends, and I'm using light bubble bath. So stamping blends are the Stampin' Up alcohol markers. I'm going to be using bubble bath, the combo of light and dark, so they come in sets of 2, and highlight heather, again that comes in light and dark. I will be using a color lifter just to pick up the color and add some lighting there. And I use the black. I'll be using the black, or I think I spritzed it before. So, but for the flowers, it's just the 2 colors I'm using. So I'm going with the light here, light bubble bath, and then I'll be adding some dark, and I'll also be adding some highlights with the highlight heather. I will be adding a bit of depth with the Melon Mambo watercolor pencil. Now I do like to do this with my coloring, adding some extra detail with watercolor pencils onto. You can mix and match your coloring mediums. Watercolor pencils do add that little, you can add some detail onto your project. So I will go in adding some depth with that Melon Mambo, and you will see the difference that just that little bit of that watercolor pencil addition does, and it makes a huge difference. So that's just a little tip for you when you use your blends and your coloring in. You can always add some watercolor pencils in there. You can make it as elaborate or as simple as you want. I like to create elevated projects and layered projects with lots of textures, and that is my where my love is and what I love to teach, and hence I'm doing a little bit more. And simple can have texture as well. So you can have a simple project with lots of detail, and I like sharing and teaching that. So here we're doing you can see on the flower has a fold, some of the petals like are folded, so at the back. So I'm keeping that sort of a light, so the light's not hitting as much. And I'm going to add shadow on those behind that fold, so where it's folded into the flower. That's my interpretation, and I'm adding some extra shadow into those crevices where the fold is. And I apologize that I'm off camera there a little bit, but I'm bringing in an exercise book. When I do want color with color pencils, it's good to have a bit of a cushioning under, in the sense of a book or a wad of paper or something. It gives you a better coloring. So I'm going over those lines, assisted by the lines that have been embossed, so it helps. But I'm also here where that fold is, I'm adding depth there and going in to accentuate that fold. If you do a comparison of the image before and after, go back on the video, you can see like that it does make a difference. And now you can see, oh, there's that fold, because before it just looked like the petal, and like at first glance you can't see, okay, that doesn't look like another part of that flower. But I just like to show that effect. And now I'm just adding and blending those colors where I see maybe some harsh lines. I will go in and add the dark petal pink, just blending. I felt the purple was, the Highline Heather was a little bit too stark, so I'm blending in the bubble bath, the dark bubble bath, and then I'll go in with the light. So generally when you're coloring something with alcohol markers, try to have like your three colors. You will have like a light and a dark and another color. So I've got my light bubble bath, my dark bubble bath, and then I have the third Highland Heather. So I'm using it minimally, like my Highland Heather. I did use the dark and very little of the light, but if you have three, you can get a good blend and nice coloring. And now I'm doing the larger flower. I'm adding, I do add some, leaving some space in the middle, so where that light's gonna fall, where the flower petal goes back, that it's going to be a bit white in that middle section. You can add the color lifter there. Sometimes I don't have it stark white. I will add color and then pull it back with the color lifter, and that's what so you'll still have the tinge of the pink, but it's just gonna look like the sun has hit it. And that's what I'm doing, adding that color lifter there. So it's gonna pull out that color but still have a little bit at the back of a tinge of it. Now going in with the dark bubble bath, and I realized I did use Melon Member and I used Pretty in Pink, and I do have Pretty in Pink stamping blends, but I felt the bubble bath worked in better for this project, and that's why I went with it. You could go with whatever you like and try different colors. The hibiscus is absolutely beautiful. It's part of our online exclusives range. We have annual catalog and currently a mini catalog with a new one to come in January. But we do have a vast variety of product in our online store, which is purely released online. So they are called online exclusives, and that doesn't mean it's exclusive to a certain that you have to order it online. It's just that you can only view it online. So if you are not comfortable ordering online, you can always contact me and I can place that order for you. But I encourage you to view the entire range online as well as through the catalog, because you're just going to get a broader product selection. And we're going to have more and more releases online as well, and we have lots of kits and things, so definitely worth your while having a bit of a browse through the whole lot. So here I'm adding the melon mambo, and I think I'm just going back with the first the flower and just fixing up some of that color, and we'll be all set to go once we've done the little one. And this is our larger flower, and you can see that larger flower came like I'm trying to get what I would say it the detail picked up when I added that extra color, because when you just add the petal pink, or sorry, the bubble bath straight on, the light bubble bath, it had like it had the detail of the embossing, but adding the color and the depth in the center makes a huge difference. So take that time to do that. It'll make your project so much better. It's just that little bit of extra time, and it'll make you go and you enjoy what you've created a bit more as well. But just adds that I'm trying the character to the flower, or the makes it more realistic as I look at it. And now the little flower, again doing the same sort of process. And so we've got our 3 flowers ready to go, and then I'll be adding some leaves, and our little bouquet background is all ready and should be nice and dry for us. And I didn't want to take over too much. I did want that bouquet background to show, because that's the beauty of this background. And so I'll be adding the flowers on the left. So this is the splatters. I thought I'd done it earlier. So I've got the splatters, which I'm adding with the stamping blend. This is black. I'm adding that. Just flick it very lightly. You don't want to damage your brush tip. Just do it very lightly. And we call this at the Stamping Lounge the splatter of happiness. And if you haven't heard about the Stamping Lounge, please hop on my Facebook page and check it out. It's we're thestampinglounge.com. We are a membership program, and with my friends Kayla Macaulay and Maheswari Rajaguru, we have lots of classes online. We have a monthly class based on a suite or a bundle or something. We have retreats. We have Zoom catch-ups, and there's constantly content being added to keep you inspired. And we all thoroughly love this little venture of ours, which we started about 3 months ago, and it's been an absolute blast. So it's $24.95 a month, and you get a bunch of amazing stuff. So hop on and check out the stampinglounge.com, and it's a place to relax and get your crafty on, and lounges, different lounges. We even have a party lounge. So come check us out. So now I'm getting my bouquet background. I've die cut 3 leaves in old olive. I love those leaves. They actually remind me of rose leaves. I don't know. They're really nice leaves. They will work with a lot of flowers, and a nice shape and size. If you know what I mean, there's some nice leaves that work really well with projects, and these are one of them. So I have got a black mat, so I've just a very fine border, and I will have the measurements up for you on the PDF tutorial. So check out the link for that. Make sure you download that. And I'm bending the flower, or just on those lines, I'm just accentuating those bends. So going in with my fingers and curving them up a bit, and adding some stamping dimensionals at the bottom. Dimensionals, they're just foam. They pop up the flower, and I'll do all the same thing with all the flowers. So it's just giving that extra 3D look. The little one, and the black mat just works really nicely on this, I felt. And I'm curving those leaves just with my fingers and just giving them a bit of a scrunch on the side so they look a bit more organic. We've stamped the sentiment, and that label is from this bundle, this Happy Hibiscus bundle. This would be a nice wedding card. You could give it as a graduation or something. Like, it's congratulations, like for various occasions, I think. And I think the green is nice. These leaves, I was tossing up what color to do the leaves, whether to go black or white, but I think the green breaks up all the purples and pinks, and it just adds that nice pop of color there. So now I've got a nice gingham ribbon, which softened, which I love gingham. It just works with everything. And this is a very vanilla, and even though it's vanilla, it works well with the white. It doesn't really matter. And I'm going to pop that on with a glue dot. You've got to have ribbon. And finally, just I'll be adding a ton of dimensionals, or you could add the foam tape or anything like that you've got to put this on my embossed background. Now the embossing folder which I've used is the So Swirly embossing folder. It's larger than our regular embossing folders, so it's a nice size, and I've just cut this just a smidgen smaller than my card base. And I generally use embossing on most projects. I love the texture that it provides and how quickly it provides it. So I had to have a layer of embossing on this, and it just finishes it off. So finally I'm adding some embellishments, which I'll be adding, and I thought it added to that dots look, and it's really, they're called tinsel gems, but they're purple, but they're really like they're fresh freesia actually, but they look really nice on the card. And there's a first card, the first card I did, and my second card. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and thank you so much for joining me, everybody. I really enjoyed this time.